Good morning and welcome to the Service and Creative Skills Australia webinar as part of National Careers Week. We're going to be talking today about pathways into retail, floristry, hairdressing and beauty. My name is Katrina Higham and today I'm hosting this webinar from Chelsea Heights, which is in the southeast of Victoria, where the Bunurong people of the Kulin Nation are the traditional owners and custodians on the lands in which I reside here with my family. I would like to recognise and celebrate the diversity of Indigenous people and their enduring cultures and connections to the lands, waters and spiritual identity through ceremonies, songlines, dance, arts and living culture across Australia. Today and every day I pay my respects to elders past, present and those emerging for the future, and extend that respect to all Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander people here today. As a brief introduction, I'm the General Manager of Vet Engagement and Product Development as one of the largest Jobs and Skills Councils, SACSA, and we support the creative arts and culture, personal services, retail, tourism and hospitality sectors throughout vocational education and training initiatives to shape the current and emerging skills needed as mentioned in the above sectors. Today, I'm joined by some fabulous individuals that are going to talk about their own career paths and journeys within retail, floristry, hairdressing and beauty. I'm not going to do their introductions. I'm going to get them all to do their own introductions today. But I would like to introduce Dane, Vivian and Daniel here today with me. And we've got Sarah in the background managing the chat function, as well as making sure everybody is spotlighted so you can see everybody today as well. We're going to go through, I'm going to get everybody to do an introduction and just to talk about their career pathways into their sector. And how they got to where they are today and what they're doing within their own industries. So I'm going to start with Dane, if you would like to unmute yourself and tell me a little bit about yourself or to the audience today and how you got into your industry.
Hi everyone, my name is Dane. I'm here to talk to you today about my journey in the floristry industry. So I started my journey while still at high school in 2009, I want to say, where I did a traineeship. So while still studying in year 11, I worked in a florist at the same time. It wasn't originally my career choice. I did want to be a dentist and thought I wanted to pursue a career as a dentist. But when I started working in the florist, I instantly fell in love with the industry. So after doing my 1 year long traineeship, I moved to a full-time apprenticeship. So I did my 3-year apprenticeship. Well, I think it was probably about 2.5 years because the traineeship cut a little bit of time off that apprenticeship time. So I completed my apprenticeship and did my certificate 3 in floristry. While still studying my apprenticeship, I did have the opportunity to compete in a couple of different competitions as well. So the very first competition I ever did was at the Melbourne International Flower and Garden Show, which was the student intermediate competition. So I think I'd only probably been studying for about a year at the time. I was very nervous, but I'm quite a competitive person. So I fell in love with the competition side of floristry very quickly. I, from there, have continued to compete in floristry a lot. The next competition after that was still during my apprenticeship as well. So all of these opportunities were available to me because I was a student and still studying. So the next competition was the World Skills Regionals, which was held in 2011. So that was organised by my TAFE at the time, and all of the other local TAFEs came and competed as well. I ended up winning the regional competition, which I do remember at the time I wasn't extremely happy to be there. It was a Sunday and I did not want to go to TAFE on a Sunday. So I did whinge a little bit, but looking back now, it was the best thing I could have possibly done. So I ended up winning the regional competition. The following year, I went to the national competition in 2012 and represented Victoria at the Nationals. I won that and I was invited to represent Australia on Team Australia in Germany. So in 2013, so I would have been the age of 21, representing the country all through my apprenticeship.
Wow. Dan, do you want to just explain what World Skills is for people that might not understand what the competition overall, because this is an amazing achievement to be traveling across the world representing Australia in floristry. Do you want to just go into a little bit more detail about it?
Yeah, sure. So World Skills is an organisation. It's a worldwide thing. So World Skills Australia, they basically call themselves like a trade Olympics. So it is open to basically any trade that studies in any TAFE across Australia. So a lot of the TAFEs are hosting the regionals, should be coming up towards the end of the year at the moment. So it alternates every second year. The regionals are held and then the nationals are the following year. And then if you are lucky enough to go to internationals, they're held the same year as regionals. So I teach at a TAFE at Marjorie Milner College, and I do have a student here today who is currently preparing to compete in France later in the year to represent Australia.
Amazing.
So yeah, it's an incredible opportunity. So for anyone out there, definitely keep World Skills Australia in the back of your mind. So when you are, and if you do study at TAFE, remember to ask your teachers about it, because it really has just started the ball rolling on an incredible career for me.
Amazing. And so after World Skills and once you got your Certificate 3, what was your pathway into becoming a trainer and assessor?
So I finished my Certificate 3 and for a little while worked in multiple different florists, just getting as much experience as I could within industry. I then had the opportunity from a TAFE to do my Certificate 4 in training and assessment. So I completed my TAE, so my Cert 4, and was able to then start teaching at TAFE. So I currently teach at 2 different TAFEs. I'm here today at Marjorie Milner College, I'm head of department here for floristry. And then I am currently studying my Certificate 4 in floristry as well, just to sort of upskill to that next level to help me with my competitions from now on.
Amazing. Thank you so much. I'm going to jump across to Vivian. Vivian, would you like to do an introduction and talk about your career pathway, please?
Okay. So my name is Vivian. I'm one of the hairdressing trainers here at Marjorie Milner College with Jane, which is downstairs. Hi. So my career pathway, I started working on weekends in a salon when I was about 15. So I was still at school, and yeah, on Friday nights and Saturdays and some Sundays when I was working at salons that open on a Sunday, I would be, at the basin washing hair, tea, coffee, and yeah, I've always loved it. So when I finished, I actually went to year 12, and when I finished year 12, because in New South Wales there wasn't the opportunity to be able to do your apprenticeship while you're at school. So I finished year 12, and straight out of school I went and got a job in a salon and started my apprenticeship. And so I was at TAFE 1 day a week and then in the salon for 4 days. And then from there, finished my apprenticeship and moved to Melbourne, which I worked in a salon for about a year. And at 22, I opened up my own salon. And I had that for about years, and put my brother through his apprenticeship. So he's also a barber. Had a few apprentices along the way. And yeah, I did, while I was still in Sydney, I was doing Hair Expo every year. So we had a little stage where we put together, a few hairstyles and did some demos and stuff for some tools companies, so like GHD and stuff like that. Yeah.
Amazing. And how did you obviously become a trainer and assessor after owning your salon?
Yeah, so when I had the apprentices that I had, I loved the training side of it, teaching them and watching them learn all these new skills, and then they'd come back from TAFE with something that they've learnt, and just seeing how excited they were. And and how much they got from it, from having amazing teachers. So I ended up closing my salon 1 day a week extra so that I could go and do my training and assessing. And I've been here for about 4 years now.
Amazing. Thank you so much. That's again, all these pathways leading in and starting and driving that passion, undertaking that qualification is always an amazing pathway, especially when you're now giving back and being a trainer and assessor. Very, very similar to Dane. Daniel, I'm going to ask you to jump on and introduce yourself and talk about your career pathway, please.
Of course, yeah. So I'm originally from Queensland. I went to high school there, and I completed year 12. I then went into uni. I soon found out that wasn't really my speed. I went in it to study engineering and then later international relations. And let me tell you, it's not really beautiful degree. It's beautiful, but not for me. After that, I moved to Sydney, and that's where I am now. And while there, I sort of started working in retail floors. When I was at uni, I was working in warehousing, and basically like developed this really intense interest in fashion and retail, retail spaces and whatnot. So an opportunity came up after about 2 or 3 years working on the shop floor, and also I'd interned for GQ and a modelling agency. But after about 3 years, I got an opportunity to get into an entry-level role at TK Maxx, and I was a data entry. It was a data entry role, so it was close enough to fashion that it held my interest, basically. But I managed to work my way up there, and after 2 years, I was promoted to an allocation analyst, and I decided that I wanted to go to try and study again. I had just found out I had ADHD, which explains so much in hindsight. But I've got the support I needed, so I decided I'm going to go back to TAFE. I'm going to try something that's a little shorter and very specific to what I know I'm interested in. So I went and did a statement of attainment for fashion business, and completed that, and felt really, really good after that, especially considering my past, I wouldn't say failures, but past not jiving with education or higher education. And around that time as well, I moved across to the Iconic, where I'm at now, and I am an assistant planner at the Iconic. And it's going very well. And I can definitely imagine myself going back and doing further study at TAFE to supplement what I've learned on the job. But yes, that's sort of how I got to where I am now.
Amazing. So what was in the skill set? What were the kind of topics that you learned in the skill set that you undertook at TAFE? You said it was fashion business, is that right?
That's correct. Yes, that's correct. So it was a very good overview of the industry, how it works, and aspects of the industry that I don't get to interact with every day, but may very well come to interact with in, further up in my career. So one aspect was the supply chain, and as an assistant planner, my job is to work with numbers a lot and forecast promotions and whatnot. Whereas this course was talking about, okay, so this is how you get a sheep, companies process this, and these are all the different people involved. And I can already see from my other colleagues in different areas of the business and those higher up that they are taking that sort of information and applying it to their everyday. So yes, gives a broader understanding. It was a shorter course, so it wasn't as detailed as like a Cert 3 or Cert 4. But I think it gave me a much better footing to understand where I can go, where I am now within the fashion business area.
So are you looking at going back to a registered training organisation like a TAFE or a private RTO to do like a Cert 4 now? Like, what's your thoughts moving forward?
Definitely, yeah. So I think from my experience at TAFE already with the statement of attainment and my career experience, I think a Cert 4 would be a good next step for me. A Cert 4 I want to specialize, I'd say, like even a fashion design Cert 4 would be very useful, especially if I wanted to move into areas of the business that are more design focused, where those sort of areas come in more, even if I myself am not looking to design clothing.
Yeah, great. Yeah, no, great. I love that pathway because it's different from Dane and Vivian, and obviously your pathway. Like all of us, we go to uni, and I went to do exactly the same thing, and I was like, this is not working for me. I'm not ready for that yet, and also went to TAFE. So stories are very, very similar in a lot of ways. When in the traditional role of let's go to university, when there are so many pathways through vocational education that really do suit a lot of people. So thank you for sharing that pathway as well. Dane, I'm going to jump back to you now, and I'm going to ask, what kind of advice will you give to someone starting out, obviously, in the floristry industry and wanting to do a pathway similar to what you've done? Like, what kind of advice or guidance would you give them?
Just to jump in and do it. It's seriously, as I said, it wasn't what I originally ever thought I would end up doing. But it has been one of the best career moves I could have made. I've had multiple interstate and overseas experiences and trips because of my career now. I travel a lot and all the time. I have an upcoming competition in Singapore in a couple of months. None of those opportunities would have been available if I hadn't have just followed my heart and lent into what felt right for me. I think just being yourself definitely helps being in creative industries. Don't be scared to be who you are, and just ask a lot of questions. There's never a wrong question, and the worst answer you can get is no. So it's worth asking things. It's worth reaching out to people, learning from as many people and things as you can while studying.
Amazing, thank you. I can't believe you're going to Singapore next month. That's amazing. What's the competition, or is it a expo?
It's a competition, so it's held at the Singapore Garden Festival. So I've been invited to represent Australia in the Floral Windows to the World Championships. So 18 countries, and I'll be the Australian representative, which is very exciting.
Wow, that is incredibly exciting. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Vivian, what advice would you give to someone wanting to get into the hairdressing sector?
I'm going to say pretty much similar to what Dane said. Give everything a go and use every opportunity, whether it's hair related or not, to learn. There's always something to learn, whether it's about hair, whatever industry you're in, and be open to the feedback. Not doing everything perfect the first go is all part of the journey, and it's part of learning, and it's how you grow. So always be open to feedback, and give everything a go.
Amazing, thank you. And Daniel, is there any advice that you would give to someone wanting to step into your industry?
Yeah, definitely. I think it's really important to set a really good foundation for your understanding. So, like getting a job in fashion retail, on the floor, in a warehouse, I think it's super important for not only being able to work your way up if the opportunity presents itself, and also it gives you an understanding of how your actions when you are further up the chain impact those down the chain. And as the other speakers have said, taking every opportunity you can. There are so many times I put my hand up to help out on a fashion shoot, basically I had the time. I was going to spend it doing fashion-related things, and that helped build my network, which in turn sort of made me be able to rely on people, helped me to reach out to people for opportunities. It just kind of explodes from there, you know. You make one connection and it's just an open door.
Yeah, no, absolutely. We had our creative arts and culture session yesterday, and we were talking about the fact that being open and communicating and making those connections, and because industries are so small within their specialization, that everybody starts to get to know everybody, and making that connection today will in 5 years potentially create an opportunity for further conversation, collaboration, and discussion. But one of the other things that we were talking about yesterday is people moving from career to career, and the transferable skills that you may have in management, in, I don't know, mechanical or a chef by trade, and moving those skills. Daniel, very similar to what you did with undertaking study at university and then moving that across to a different career. Like those skills that you had before and now, do you see them sort of weaving into each other and working across what you're doing?
Absolutely, yeah. When I was in high school, I was preparing to go into uni as an engineer. So I was doing high-level maths and chemistry, you know, all these things that now I find utterly mystifying, and then as well. But the thing is, those concepts that you learn about, if you remember even just the name of them or how they relate to things, I've then been able to apply those into my job here as in my analytical roles, as well as general knowledge about certain things. Just getting, actually with international relations, when I was sort of studying that, there's so many different trade organizations, so many different free trade agreements, you know, that comes into play in fashion, that it is very helpful to sort of have even just the roughest understanding of different countries' political affiliations. It doesn't necessarily help out in the day-to-day, but at the very least you can sort of understand the concepts behind, like, okay, why do we have a free trade agreement with India or China or Japan? Like, it's very interesting, and it's very surprising where overlaps happen.
There's a crossover, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
And Dana, you're getting people that are enrolling now in floristry that are either mature age or they're looking at changing careers. Like what sort of students are you getting through? And I'm obviously going to ask Vivian the same question next as well. Like, tell me about the type of students and learners that you're having coming through now.
Definitely. We get all sorts of learners through. So in the classroom, we have anywhere from school-based students all the way through to mature age. I have some students that study. We have Tasmanian students that come over to study here with us. We have students that come and travel from the country as well. So they can either do that via a block week, so they come for the full week once every few months, or they travel and make the journey here the 1 day a week. So lots and lots of committed students out there who are really willing to learn, which is fantastic to see.
Amazing. And again, the same thing, moving those skills from one industry into another must be a great help to them as they're sort of working through concepts or schoolwork or whatever.
Definitely, definitely. Even just some of those like organization skills, our selling skills, things like that are really transferable through a lot of the different courses. Even a lot of our mature ages, a lot of career change students we have in the classroom as well, who have, you know, even from office jobs and things like that, they just didn't sit with them. They've decided to do a course that's kind of for them now in that creative avenue. And they're all still, there's a lot of skills within those that are all transferable as well.
Amazing. I love hearing that. I love the transferable skills across service industries. And like I said, the communication customer services is so, so important. Vivian, what are the same thing? Are you finding that there are learners from all different walks of life? And obviously you started when you were quite young, but are you finding the same thing with your learners that are coming through now as well?
Yeah, 100%. So, you know, as Jane said as well, you know, we've got some students from school all the way through to, I think one of our oldest students is just turned 60. She actually helped her daughter run her salon for years and years, and she goes, you know what, it's my turn. I want to go and I want to get my apprenticeship, and I want to have my qualification. So it's amazing to see, you know, all the different people that walk through here. You know, we've got a couple of the students that, you know, one of them was a nurse, one of them was in veterinary, and yeah, it wasn't for them, and they've always loved hair, and yeah, they've just started doing it and love it.
Amazing. I love that story. That's fantastic, with the mother and daughter doing it as well.
Yeah,
That is
she's
sensational.
amazing.
So I can imagine, and very dedicated, I'm sure. And all
So
those
dedicated.
skills, again, that they've had throughout their lives, the communication and the management, like everything that we keep touching on, is fantastic. So amazing. Dane, Vivian, Daniel, thank you so much for your time today. I really appreciate it, and I hope that everybody that was here today got something out of it and want to look at pathways within these sectors, and obviously pathways through VET if you're looking at changing careers, you're not really sure. I hope you got some valuable insights from Dane, Vivian and Daniel today. And I hope you enjoy the rest of your day. It is just hit 11 o'clock, so I will leave you all to it. Have a fabulous afternoon, everybody, and thank you so much for coming today. See you later.